my bowl of fruit.
There you go.
Yeah, bring the sales meeting back.
Yeah, we're live, brother. There you go. Kick it off, brother. This is the sales meeting, you guys. Notary sales meeting. We're gonna do this once a week. You know, you guys are entrepreneurs. You're in business for yourself, but you don't have to be by yourself. We're here to lend a helping hand, help you close more sales with the notary business. I'm Tiger Toledo. I have about 5.5 years in this notary business. Have extensive sales and marketing background. So we're gonna give you some really high level tips, strategies to close more deals when you're getting phone calls and inquiries about these notary sales. Tech?
Yeah, I'm Tech Amaku. And yeah, man, I love the sales call, man. I love the sales meetings. It really is something that's, to me, enough of the motivation, enough of the inspiration, enough of all the, you know, we love positivity and encouragement and all that stuff, but there's a time for the motivation and the inspiration. There's a time for all that. But bro, on a day-to-day basis, when I'm talking directly to people, what do I say? What frame of mindset do I need to be in? How do I handle those situations? Those are like the nuts and bolts. And that's why I like the sales meetings. You know, because we really get down. It's not, let's look at some Tony Robbins inspirational quotes and let's feel good. Like, there is a time and place for that. But yo, this got to be a well-oiled machine, or you can make it a well-oiled machine. So I like the sales meetings because we talk about the tangibles, real tangibles, you know.
So what did you want to talk about today in the sales meeting, brother?
I had a couple things.
Yeah.
But the biggest one I have on my list is responding to what happens. You ever have a phone call and the person sounds excited, they sound like they're ready to go, and for some reason they don't book. For some reason they don't go ahead and convert into a customer. You're unable to convert this person into a client. So it was basically, you just talked to this person for the last 3 minutes, 4 minutes maybe, hopefully not much longer than that, but you just spoke to this person for free. You just gave them free advice. How do you recover those clients, those potential callers, and getting those people back on the hook? You know, we don't want to turn into, what do you call them? You say you don't want to turn into a bill collector. All right. You don't want to chase them down for money or anything like that. But at this point, you have yet to even confirm them as a client. But, you know, they called you, they have your phone number, they ask you a bunch of questions, and sometimes you give away too much information. Maybe that's the reason why they call, or that's the reason why they don't come back. But I want to talk about getting those people back. Okay. So for those people who were on the Control Chaos, there was something that we talked about. There were some tips that were thrown out by Don of One Notary Nation. And I wanted to expand a little bit on some of those suggestions. So there was a question from the audience, and they asked about, when people call me and then I give them all the information and then they just never book, what can I do? And there's a couple ways that I would go around that. See me, I'm coming from the medical field, so I'm always thinking do more work on the front end so you have less work on the back end. My approach is always front loaded. Do as much stuff early as possible so you don't have to do nothing later on. And for example, if I know that a person's getting surgery on their foot, then I'm going to go ahead and try to schedule all of their, supplies, because I already know what they're going to need 2 weeks from now once they already come back for their post-op, visits and stuff. Same thing with the clients. If somebody's calling you and they're asking you a bunch of questions and you see this over and over and over again, let's say you get 5 calls and all 5 people called you and you had 3-minute, 4-minute, 5-minute conversations and they still didn't book. To me, this question was, well, I'm giving them the links and they're not booking. So I would do it on the front end. I would say maybe the solution is to hold their hand a little bit more. Maybe the solution is to not necessarily talk to them longer, but be more precise with the whole crosswalking method. So if I'm calling for a power of attorney and I'm asking, do you do power of attorney? And they say, yes, we do power of attorney. Are you the person signing the document? Actually, yes, I am. And it's also my husband. All right. Do you live in Miami? Well, it's actually at the hospital. Okay. And they want to know, do you travel to the hospital? Yeah, we travel to the hospital. And so here's the next step, go ahead and confirm the appointment. And then the person reveals, do you bring the power of attorney? So that's an indication that they don't even have the document. All right, so now this becomes a notarization appointment to a legal document drafting appointment. You see? So you ask the person, do you have the document? Oh, no, well, I can probably just download it. How much is it? They're saying, I don't have the document. I don't know what to do. I just want to know how much I need to spend. And then they also reveal, well, can I just go to the hospital and get it? Or can I download it? You see, this whole phone call started off as, can you notarize a power of attorney? And then as the questioning goes on, in relatively short time, it reveals they don't even have the power of attorney. They don't even know what the next step is. So they require a little bit more hand holding. And then the whole ghosting process. So how does that person then, because over time, they think, oh, this is too complicated. I need to, you have to make the power of attorney for me. I thought you already have it. And then you show up to the hospital. See, that's what they think. You just show up to the hospital, you have the power of attorney, and then they just sign it. They just check a couple boxes and then they just sign it. No, this is a whole legal document preparation process. At least it should be. Or because if you don't have it already, then we have to create this for you. So, but then you just lose that client. How do you get that client back? You talk to them a little bit, you hold their hand, let them know, I know this is your first time doing this, but this is how we can help you. And that's a way to reduce the ghosting. So front loading it so that you can walk the person through. And then Don has some recommendations as far as just get them to pay over the phone, and then that will confirm the appointment. So I like that idea as well. But there's a couple of different ways. Any other suggestions you have? Oh, you on mute.
Yeah, so I would say just keeping that attentive ear is crucial to it. You have to like really listen to hear, because sometimes you can listen to the client and you can kind of get a feeling, well, if I say this, I may just jeopardize this deal. So sometimes there are times that I will go in for the kill and try to get the credit card off the rip because the conversation opened up for that. But there are other times where we may have built a certain type of rapport over the phone, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to distracted too much with a price that they may, it may go into a back and forth, which I don't mind the back and forth, but to give it more of a smooth process, I may just send them the link for them to book it through my my Calendly and stuff. So yeah, it comes down to how the conversation is flowing.
Yeah, that's true. That's the friend zone that she was talking about as well. You don't want to get too, you don't want to lose that leverage, which I agree. I agree. But so when you talk about getting the payment over the phone, man, like the whole automation, people hear us talk about that and then they want to do it because it's exciting and it's really easy and it's kind of hands off, non-confrontational. It's everything that you look for. But it really is, it comes with a skill, right? You got to be a little bit more comfortable with delivering that pitch or that punch. And you got to be okay with expecting somebody to like push back a little bit.
Yeah.
The objections, I expect it, you know. So when it comes, I'm not surprised. But that's the advantage of having the automation because it's so much faster, so much quicker, and it's so much more lean. But you know, if you're not quite at that comfort level, then you know, because I'll be honest, I never really did the credit card over the phone thing. I never did that, right? Until I started talking to you, and then you were like, "Just get the credit card over the phone." I remember the first time I did it. I remember the very first time I took a credit card over the phone. I was like well into 2.5-3 years into the business already. I had never done it.
Was there a reason why you never did it?
The reason, I mean, listen, man, I can lie, come up with all kind of stuff. I think the reason why is because I thought it would be, it's just less hands off, less things for me to write. And it came, I'll be honest, man, there was a little bit of arrogance with it too as well. I'll be honest, I'll say, look, because I know in the mind of a person who's calling us, I know this is what you need. Listen, I'm not charging you $500,000. This ain't $1 million I'm really charging you, but it ain't $2 either. So yeah, I know you need this, and I can do this. And here's this beautiful process of getting it done. This is not like you calling the corner store, Larry's Mobile Notary on the corner. This ain't that.
Yeah.
The well-oiled machine. You see how the landing pages and the website looks clean. You see how the phone conversation. You don't want it after all of that? What are you going to do? You're going to go to the corner store notary and then they're going to charge you $15 and then they're going to rob you, right? So I just left it in their hands. And I will say, that was my approach. That was really my approach inside. I'm like, listen, I'm exceeding your expectations because I'm really not even charging you enough, to be perfectly honest. I'm really not really that high, not that expensive. It's not. For what it is that we do, it's really not that expensive. So you want it or not. And then if they didn't take it, then they didn't take it. But then you added the element of I'll never forget this. It was a Arab dude. It was an Arab guy, Middle Eastern guy. And I remember being on the phone and him having a hard time doing the PayPal. And then you were on the phone at the same time, like, right? Because I got the two joints, right? Here I am talking to the guy, and then Tiger's coaching me at the same time. He's like, bro, take the credit card over the phone. So, and then at that spot, I called him back and I said, here's what we can do. Tonight, 6:45, we can have a notary show up at your doorstep. Here's the next step. Once your payment's processed, you'll get a confirmation and the notary will contact you once they arrive. All right, I'm ready to take your number when you are. Then he goes, do I have to pay for it first? Yeah. He says, all right, will somebody be here at 6:45? Yeah, okay. That's what he was just asking for reassurance. And then I took the credit card, took the 16 digits, expiration date, security, zip code, and it was it.
Yeah. And I think that's why I started that too. I was running into a lot of hiccups. And, we jumped on Calendly like when they first came out, right? And the only payment gateway they were allowing at the time was PayPal. And man, I was running into so many people. I don't have a PayPal account, even though it says you can check out as a guest. PayPal's giving me problems. I don't trust PayPal. And it was just hiccup after hiccup after hiccup to the point where I was like, I have to charge them over the phone. I have to get the credit card over the phone and get the money. Because again, like one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing money go through my fingers, right? And it's like, you did all of this work and now PayPal isn't working, or Calendly has a glitch that they need to fix. What are you gonna do? You're gonna be like, sorry, or you're gonna say, I'll collect the payment when I get there. Now, here's the thing though. When your cost is $100 and something, $200 something, $300 for a notary assignment, people ain't carrying that type of cash on them like that. So now they're like, oh, you take credit card? You know what I mean? He's like, no, sorry, we're gonna have to collect cash when we get there. Damn, I gotta go to the bank now. You're inconveniencing them. So they're like, you know what, don't worry about it.
All right.
So it was like, no problem. I'll just take your credit card over the phone. And then we would go, and I did that dozens of times because it was a glitch. But now with the Stripe thing, I don't even get that hiccup anymore. Stripe being integrated. So for those that use Calendly, if you're experiencing this problem with your client saying, hey, like, you know, you may have your PayPal attached to your Calendly. I personally, and Tech, you could correct me if I'm wrong, I personally switched over to Stripe, and I have gotten 0 complaints.
Really?
From that point. None. Because with the Stripe, is basically just going to ask for the first, last name, credit card number, CV code, and I think the zip code, and that's it. So it's perfect. It works perfectly with Calendly. So that should help you guys out with your payment gateway and your link right there.
Had you been having problems with PayPal?
No, it's just the customers that would have the problems with PayPal.
Yeah, from the customers, yeah.
Yeah. Like I tell them, you know, there's a section where it says check out as guest, but they don't see that part. They're just looking at, oh, PayPal, check out with PayPal. They don't even click to see that part. So that was the bad thing about that. Because on Calendly, it says check out with PayPal, but you have to click the link in order to see you can check out as a guest. So it's behind the scenes, right? And then the client doesn't see that. They just say check out with PayPal. Oh, I don't deal with PayPal. PayPal has done this to me, or whatever the case is. But with the Stripe, it's been smooth sailing, man.
Yeah, PayPal was giving me a hard time. I can't count how many calls. I would say probably about 10 or 15 calls where people would say, they would call me back and say, oh, I don't know what's going on. For some reason, it's not working with PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
It would be an issue. Or somebody would say, I'm on the phone, right? Or I'm on your website right now, and it says to do PayPal. Well, what if I don't have a PayPal account? And you're right. You would always run into those problems. But Stripe, you're right. Gone. Completely eliminated.
Oh, by the way, everybody on YouTube, we got a few people on YouTube. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat. We are having our weekly notary sales meeting to help you guys close deals for your notary business. So grab your pen and paper. If you have questions, we can help you out with that while you have us on the line.
Yeah, that's real, man. So so that's getting the payment over the phone. So once you get the payment over the phone, once you get the credit card, man, and you talked about for people who weren't in the control chaos, you were making by the way, there's an updated version that's going to be released today. So if you're on the email list, then I would definitely, if you're not, then I would sign up for the email list, drtech.com, or get on Tiger's email list, because that new control chaos will be available. And you were talking about, and then you have access to the call script, which is kind of what we're referring to right now. There's several different types of call scripts. There's about 4 different ones. And you'll see how beautifully they blend together. And this is what's going to make you, I don't want to say bulletproof, but I want to say this is going to make you very hard to lose customers. It'll be very difficult for you to lose customers with the call script. But you're talking about in the control chaos being like what we like to call customer funded. It's interesting though, because the time that it takes to be involved with some of the usual, like we underestimate how much time is really involved with doing notary. So for example, a loan closing, it can be up to 2-3 hours. And initially you don't think that, but when you start to factor in from the moment you get a request, you accept it, and then to the moment it's shipped off, just how much time you're dedicating, and then what you're being compensated for that time. And then you compare that in contrast to doing a private specialized notary and having a client, and the amount of, and how you can now shorten or reduce your hands-on engagement with that client through automation, and how you're literally working half a fraction of the time or a fraction of the work, but you're getting much more production. And that's really the whole direction of a business owner.
Yeah.
When you're a business owner, you are working a system, right? You have this step-by-step system that when people call you or engage with you, you kind of take them through, you work it, either you work it or somebody else works it, or you got a whole staff that works it, but somehow it's getting worked, versus the notary job or the notary loan signing is worse than a job, right? Where you're conducting most of the work, and you're literally trading your time for the money. Again, not a bad thing, right? It's just, it really is different though. It really is a completely different perspective and approach, and you got to know those two. But having a customer funded operation, meaning like you're pricing appropriately, the amount of engagement or amount of time that you are either on the phone or you're sending out emails, or you're writing down their credit card number, or you're writing down their address and correctly spelling their names, like all those things, that is you doing work, right? You're picking up the phone call, you're talking to them for 6 minutes, you're gathering intel, that's you working, and you haven't gotten paid yet. So once the payment is processed, you taking the payment on the phone, now it becomes customer funded, versus you accepting this order, this assignment, printing out paper, or sending them back and forth emails. And this can be with private notaries too, doesn't necessarily have to be a loan signing, but you going back and forth, communicating with them, and then you drive to the house. Like it ain't stopped yet, right? You're sitting there, and it keeps going, and then you get paid either in person with cash, or you wait 41 days later until the escrow closes, and then the loan is funded. Right? There's a completely different approach, and you could when you take it from a business perspective, like I said, you front load all of that stuff. You do it all in the beginning, and then you execute the work, versus being not taking a different approach, the non-customer funded approach, and then you come out of the pocket, and then you have to wait to get paid. But you go into deep detail on the control chaos, and then when you combine that with how you interact with the customer with those call strips, when you have that understanding, man, it's just, that combination is just, it makes you unstoppable, man. It's powerful. It's empowering,
Yeah.
And I think it makes you walk a lot different, and it makes you interact with the customers way differently.
No, I agree with you, bro. Because I think, well, I don't think, I know that, and again, we're not casting any shade to loan signings. Get it how you get it. Get your money, Chico. But I believe that you guys need, those that are loan signing agents, you need to take a real hard assessment and an audit of the amount of time that you're actually spending with or per client, including waiting on your check to arrive for you to actually get paid. So when I used to drive a truck, 18-wheeler truck, they would just brag about, yeah, you're getting $62,000 a year. You know, you get weekends off and you get all of this other stuff, right? And it sounds great. It's like, oh man, 62,000, all I got to do is drive and stuff like that. Fantastic. It wasn't until like my 3rd year of trucking, I said, you know what? Let me audit what's going on here, because something don't seem right with the amount of time that I'm putting in the business and the amount of time that, you know, the amount of money that I'm getting. What they don't tell you about the trucking industry is that sometimes you're actually sleeping in the truck. So you're spending 24 hours. A lot of times you're sleeping in the truck if you're doing regional, or especially if you're over the road. Forget about it. You're gone for like 2 weeks. You're gone for 2 weeks. You're sleeping. The truck is your home at that point. So when you calculate how much time you're actually putting in, see, most people would stop the clock and say, all right, I'm off the clock. I'm no longer getting paid. But you're still in that truck. You're not with your family. You're not, you know, at a theater or a movie or having dinner with your wife or your spouse or whatever. So you're still working. They're just not paying you.
Mm.
So for loan signing agents, when you perform the entire task for that day, whether you're from the moment, like you said, Tech, from the moment you answer that phone call, you're on the clock. It's showtime at that point. To when you're sending out emails back and forth, if there's any correspondence, if you driving to the client, you spending time with the client, you driving to your FedEx, the amount of time that you're spending on scanning back the paperwork, the amount of time that you're standing in line at the FedEx, or if you're just dropping it off, the amount of time of you driving back home, you're still on the clock. Now, that's when a lot of people believe in their mind that they're turning off the clock. But guess what? You still didn't get paid yet. Now you have to wait 30 to 45 days. Run the numbers on that. Walmart and Target doesn't even take 30 to 45 days to pay you.
Right.
You're going to get paid every week or every 2 weeks with them. Why is it that you have to wait 30 to 45 days?
Good question.
So just take a hard audit of what you're really doing, how much time you're actually spending to actually get that money. And does it really calculate to what you think you're getting? Because what Tech and I will teach you is that first of all, they call it general notary work, but it's definitely not general notary work. And I submit to you that we actually make more than loan signing agents per deal and per time, the amount of time that we put in. But when we teach you how to set up everything, you're getting paid before you even run the appointment. So the money that you're going to spend for gas, that's been customer funded. If you have to pay for the printout paper, the customer actually paid you in advance for that. The amount of time that you're going to spend with them and you making your way back, that's already been funded. You're not waiting on a check after that. And for those that have a hiccup on, well, my state says I can only charge this much. Keep this in mind. America is a free trade society. What does that mean? What does that mean, Tiger, a free trade society? What that means is you can give a person a price of $100 or $10. The customer does not have to go with you.
No, they don't.
They have a choice. It's a free trade society. So you could charge $10, I could charge $100, and the customer say, you know what? I like this person's presentation. I like the way they're doing business. I'd rather go with them. And they choose me instead. You didn't twist nobody's arm. You didn't force anybody. Your price was your price. And I'm telling you, I know people that have been locked up. No notary police has put them in jail. I don't know anybody that said the notary police locked their ass up. And I've known people that have gotten audited. And it's still like it was justifiable because they can't tell you how much money to put on your time. Tech, you want to add to that?
Absolutely not, man. I mean, no, absolutely not. They can't tell you what to put on your time, man. Well, we know why it takes 30 to 45 days to get funded, right? Or to get paid. It comes down, like, because I can just hear somebody saying right now, oh, it takes 30 days because that's when escrow closes or that's when the loan gets funded. Like, we got that part. But from a conceptually standpoint, from that perspective, from a conceptual standpoint, because I mean, you do 20 appointments in a month, and each one you have to wait 30 days to get paid. Or let's say you only do 15, but half of those are loan closings or in situations where you don't get paid in advance. That's 7.5 appointments that you are funding. You're paying for that now. Because if you do, I don't know, let's just say you do 15 appointments in a month. So that's one every other day, which is probably a reasonable volume. But for half of those, you got to wait. You got to sit by the mailbox. It changes the way you operate. It completely transforms the way that you approach this business because, number one, you're playing from behind. You're playing catch up, and it can be dangerous. And I think that's what, if you're getting a ton of volume, which back in the pandemic days, it was very high volume because of the number of transactions, it might be reasonable for you to wait 30 days to get paid. But then you think about what Walmart and Target does, and you're like, oh, wait a second. This is worse than a job. This is worse than me going to stand in a place that I have to be there for 8 hours and not like it. This is actually worse because now at least there I got paid every other week. But it completely changes the way your operation works when the customers are paying you in advance. If you think about it, when you order pizza, don't you pay for it first? Or when you go to Starbucks, don't you pay for it and then you get the product? Because those are businesses.
Absolutely. They should treat their business like a business, right?
Absolutely. I think so. I would.
And there's a myth out there of people saying that you cannot get paid from them early on. Tech, you and I both debunked that myth. Both of us debunked that myth because we have. Okay, listen, you guys. When a person is under pressure, which most of these title, escrow, and loan people are, you basically have their balls in a sling. They've called a bunch of people. They can't find anybody to do it. They already have an allowance for the notary. And a lot of notaries, tech from us running our agency, we already know that most notaries are underpriced. So when a title escrow company calls, let's say they have a budget for that loan signing for $250, you tell them $60, $100, $150. That surplus, that overflow goes back to them. And they do have access to pay you right there on the spot because they're paying other people. There was a title company that called me. It was a lady, and she said, I gave it a price, and I was, what did I say? That I was going to take the credit card over the phone, or I was going to send a link for her to pay. And she told me, she was like, oh, that's not company policy. We don't pay people until like 30 to 45 days. So I hit her back with, well, our company policy say we don't dispatch a notary until we get paid. And she hemmed and hawed for like 2 seconds. I didn't fall for that plot. Yeah. Because usually a notary, an unexperienced notary would be like, but you know what? I can make an exception. I could make a couple of moves happen. That's fine, because you guys show your yellow back. You show that you're scared, and they feed off of that. Like any animal in nature, they smell fear, they spot fear. You're a victim. So they'd be like, okay, if I would have shown fear and said, yeah, we usually take payments, but I guess we can do it for you, I probably wouldn't even get my check in 30 days, bro. I probably would have got it in 45 to 60 days. So what ended up happening, I told her, well, we can't run the assignment. It's our company policy that we have to receive payment before we dispatch a notary. She hemmed and hawed, and then she was like, hold on.
Yeah.
Do you guys accept American Express? I was like, absolutely.
Yes.
And we ran the credit card and it was done.
Yeah.
So some of these notaries that you're listening to, they're lying to you, man. They just don't have the balls to ask these people and stand their ground and say, no, you have to pay first. I don't know any other company that like, or any business. Well, I know some businesses where you do, but these companies have a certain amount of cash flow. Let's just say you just started in the notary business and you're going after title and escrow companies. I'm trying to save somebody here. You go apply to all of these directories with title escrow companies, and in your mind, you believe that you can only get paid every 30 to 45 days with these guys, right? Now you get about 3 companies under your belt. Each company is probably going to give you, I'm just hypothetically saying, each company gives you about 10 assignments a month. You got 30 assignments coming in for the month, right? None of those companies are going to pay you up front. They're all going to pay you in 30 to 45 days. Where the hell is that? If you don't have a reserve, you're tapping into your own bread.
Yes.
If you already have bills and expenses that you're already paying for, and you're trying to start this business with as minimum money as possible, going that route is actually going to break you. I've seen it break other people. Because if you're running 30 appointments and you're not going to get paid for another 30 days, you're tapping into your own savings. So let's say you're charging them, you're a newbie, you're charging them $100 or something. Damn near $40 of that is going to go to gas, paper, extra locations. God forbid you make a mistake on the document and you have to drive back to the customer's house.
Go right back out there. Yeah. And that happens.
I've done it. I've made mistakes and I had to go back and correct my mistakes. Yeah. We're not immune to that. Now you're like, so you do $40 a pop. Let's just say $40 per assignment that you're spending out of pocket with that. After 10 assignments, you out of pocket $400. After 20 assignments, you're $800. And then by the time you get to your 30th assignment, you're at $1,200 out of pocket. And you haven't seen one red cent. Let them know your policy, your company policy, because a lot of you guys with ego like to tell them that, like to be the CEO answering their goddamn phone. Yeah, this is Bill Gates. Oh shit, Bill Gates, you work the receptionist area? You answer your own phone calls? Wow. Sounds like your organization is getting small. Thanks for calling. This is Warren. Warren as in Warren Buffett. You answered. Thank you for calling Berkshire Hathaway. This is Warren Buffett speaking. Wow, you answer your own phone?
No, this can't be. Is it really you? Yeah.
Dude, I would start considering pulling my stock. I start selling my stock. I was like, this nigga's answering his own phone, yo.
This nigga, he's behind the counter flipping the burgers now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Is this for educational purposes? Yeah. This is like the evolution of the industry. I mean, if you're a newbie, especially, you're in a, and that word newbie is always interesting because isn't notary something that you can go from 0 to 100 real quick? And what I mean by that is, I'm not saying from an experience standpoint, I'm just saying if you were introduced to this industry by your barber or by your hairdresser who used to be a loan signing agent back in the day, and they tell you this is a quick way to make some money, some income on the side while you're in between jobs or something to supplement your income. But here's the key. They tell you, here, see, this is what you got to do. You got to sign up for 7 or 8 different directories and sign-up services, and then you got to put your name on their list so that they contact you. And then when you go out and you get your orders, then you go ahead and get your supplies, and then you go ahead and you communicate them with your business cards and make sure you leave a note for them when you drop off the documents, and then make sure your address is correct, because then they're going to send you a check. They're going to mail it to you to make sure all that. See, that could take 8 months, 9, 10 months before you see anything. It could take 4 months, maybe at the earliest 3 months to really get going. But when I say you can go from 0 to 100, you take the approach of a business owner, and you say anybody who calls me is going to be $127.98 right out the gate. Regardless, it's going to be $94.06 out the gate, regardless, for me to go out the house. It's a different approach. But listen, you just saying that is one thing, right? Because I know people will kind of misconstrue this and they say, well, you can't just say that. Well, of course not, because you have a real service. You have a real business. You actually are offering a real business. I'm not just making up numbers out of nothing, but you can you can go from zero. You could really catapult yourself and get early wins, being great on the phone and increasing your sales and negotiation skills, improving your communication, right? Having 2 cell phones, having a reliable vehicle, these type of things put you in a position where you can then accept a phone call, and instead of them paying you, 41 days later, then they can pay you before you even walk out the door.
Mm-hmm.
And now, because I was introduced to this industry by somebody who approached it in that manner, now I can have some early success and I won't struggle where I'm dipping into my savings, $1,200 in the hole 3 months later, 4 months later, and I'm just now starting to get checks. And sure, maybe all those checks come at one time and then you just get this windfall of cash. I hope. That'd be great. That'd be really great. But then you have to do it all over again. And here's the thing, right? How long can you do that? How long can you perpetuate that, pushing your car and pushing your body and how long can you do that? Right? You can do it for so long until you get burned out. And then all of a sudden the market shifts and then all of a sudden something happens. And this is what you're seeing a lot happening now, where a lot of people are biting the dust and they don't have to, they really don't.
Yeah,
it's something exactly. That you can stick around. It's just a completely different approach. And I think this is the evolution. This is the advancement of the industry. And for those who want to advance, you have the opportunity to do it.
And that's a perfect segue for our quick commercial break. You guys, we are doing a 36-hour sale on our Notary Special Ops bundle. You can find the link in the chat or in the description. This is the only workbook you'll ever need to succeed in the notary business. Here's what's included: the $1 Million Call Script. You're also going to get the Control Chaos Notary Training Summit replay. It's damn near almost a 3-hour replay of like top level, high level closing techniques on that, strategies. You're also going to get the automated call script, bonus live call videos, the call tracking system, so you know what is the hottest document in your neighborhood. Over 50 directories to optimize visibility and get high quality leads, because if you don't have leads, you can't close no sales. And if you don't have no sales, you have no cash flow. If you have no cash flow, you're not in business. You're also going to get the texting for dollars prompts. And we just added 50 ways of effective ways to scale your notary business. We just added that yesterday. And then you're also going to get a ton of bonuses. The value of that is $497. You can now get it for $27 for the next 36 hours. Then the price actually doubles or goes up more. So I highly suggest getting that. We already got a bunch of people. Matter of fact, we already got 2 people that signed up today. Do it. It's $27. It's going to be one of the greatest investments you ever do.
Check it out. Go check. High quality lead is something that it may be kind of new. Bro, here's how you tell the difference between a high quality lead. Because it's like, what is a high quality lead? You know what a high quality lead is? Somebody who actually needs a notary, right? These are people who are not calling just to say, let me call you back. They're not calling to just say, can I get something for free? It's not those people.
Right.
When you're advertising at the corner store, or you're putting out, gift cards and cookie bags, what will you get in response? You will get essentially people who are hungry, right? They're like, oh, we like when you come around because you give us food and you give us drinks. That's what you're going to get, right? But when you're answering the very question that somebody is in search for, they're like, I need something to be signed. I'm at the hospital and my husband is here getting ready to go under procedure, and we've got a power of attorney. I saw your advertisement, or I saw your website, or I saw your Google business page, and I see that you come to emergency rooms at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, that's specific to somebody's problem, right? Versus somebody saying, hey man, I love when you bring us fruit. We're gonna call you more often. That's not somebody's problem. Notary is so unique because, like, you talk about this sales meeting right here. Think about the mind of a customer. Bro, you've got what they need, don't you? You got an ink pad, you got the pen, you got the journal. That's exactly what you need. You got the stamp. That's what they need. Are you faster than the next person? Are you cheaper than them? Are you more experienced? That's all relative. That comes across in the phone call. That comes across in your presentation. But you got everything that they need. The workbook, you got examples not only of me and Tiger doing it, but I like the replay because the role playing that we did towards the end is so much fun. The live role play, you get to see overcoming the objections right there on the spot. And let's see, can I actually? I can't share my screen. It's all good.
Yeah, I can add you to it. Hold on. All right, you're good.
Okay. Let me show this. So, you know, just because I love that workbook so much, here's something like the capitalizing on the right environment. Get some customers, set the appointment, top 2 objections, notaries here. How objections take multiple forms. People will tell you, oh, can I just come in? Can I just walk in? Or they'll say, oh, I don't have a printer. Like, you have different ways that people will throw out objections. How to do when people call you for price checking. A dynamic approach to the call script. How you make it more artful and blend it in with your own swag and your own personality. When somebody says, how much does it cost? Closing the difficult clients, different techniques, right? These are a couple $100, y'all. This ain't thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars closing deals. These should be very straightforward ways to transact a meeting, guys. Breaking down the ultimate call script to close 60%. So like Tiger was saying, the difference between studying documents versus actually just setting up the appointments, right? You focus on one versus focusing on the other. And you see what happens. When you focus on documents, what happens? When you focus on setting up meetings, what happens? Right? And some wisdom. And then Dawn comes in, she talks about the professional greeting, walking somebody through from the professional greeting to them actually paying, getting paid in advance. I mean, look at the topics here. Look, the state laws that actually benefit you, and how do you use those when you are doing a call flow with customers. Working with people who have dogs and how you can use that to your advantage, and pets.
Yeah, we went in.
Bro, look, this doesn't stop. It just keeps going. And then Tiger talks about mindset and how you can't be the customers are they're coming to you with pressure. Either the judge is calling them, the lawyers, their wives, or their spouses, something, and they're coming to you scared. Yeah. But that's got to be, you can use that energy to help them, to help, not save them necessarily, but to help them, walk them through this and get them, because that's what they're looking for. So that shouldn't scare you though. I mean, when people come to you and they're not sure, they're uncertain, use that. And Tiger talked about how to outshine the competition, and how the people in your area, if you did an audit of the people in your area, you would realize that they're probably worth about $2, and it's not very hard to stand out in your area. They're probably answering the phone with music playing in the background. They don't have any type of structure, and you can easily blow them out of the water. Oh, somebody's at my door. The must-haves for effective closing, the 3 fundamental ways of communication, being your worst. It's just great.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's at my door. Let me go.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. So yeah, you guys, like, get that workbook. Get that workbook. It is loaded with stuff. Plus, you get so many bonuses added to that. It we really put our foot in it. You know what I mean? It's that down south gumbo in there. So I highly suggest it. I used it early on in my career in the notary business. I could tell you right now, like, when I was getting phone calls for the notary business, I was a fumbling, bumbling idiot. I didn't have much structure on how to coordinate the call. So that's where the call script was actually originated from, is like, if I was going to ask for a high price, I could not wing it. I could not wing it. Some of you guys are winging it, and you don't have to. When you have a proven strategy on something that works, do it until you master it, then add your own personality to it. Add your own swag to it once you master the formula, because it's put together for a reason. It's structured and it flows a certain way for a reason. It's not to go from, part 1 and then jump all the way to part 7, then jump back to 3, then go back to, 10. It's not designed to do that. It's designed for you to control the flow of the conversation. It gives you the ability, for one, because a lot of people, when they're answering the phone calls, they're feeling a level of anxiety. I'm talking about notaries are feeling levels of anxiety. I know people, tech, and you've been there, that we will do a hot seat and the notaries will start sweating. They will start like stuttering and stuff, and like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I've done sales calls before. It's like, then just do it the normal way that you've always been doing it. But the fact is that when they do get a notary call, they're doing exactly the same thing, because they have no structure. They have no foundation. And for those that already have a strong foundation, the control chaos part, the replay, and the other training videos will open up new doors for you that you didn't realize that you could have been making money off of. You just haven't positioned yourself and positioned your company to actually receive that money. So that's what the workbook looks like, you guys. It looks that fly. Yeah, the pages do that once you get access to it. Tech, you on mute, bro.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Yeah, that's just a sneak peek of the book. Yeah, sneak peek, and 50 list. You have all this stuff in your hand, and this is really cool because that tracking system is what I actually did. Man, I can show you guys some crazy stuff, like that whole tracking system.
And that tracking system saved me, bro, from investing a lot of time and money into a sector of because the notary sector is pretty big, y'all. The notary sector, I mean, like you have the affidavits is a sector by itself. Power of attorneys is another sector. Real estate documents is another sector. Financial documents is another sector. Business documents are another sector. So that call tracking system saved me so much time and money from investing in advertising to push for documents that wasn't a hot commodity in my neck of the woods in Chicago. So I could have spent a whole lot of money trying to do a apostille, but a apostille isn't hot in Illinois. Power of attorneys is hot in Illinois. Affidavits is smoking hot in Illinois. So quick claim deeds are hot in Illinois. But if you're not tracking it, you're just like, oh, let me make some Canva designs on apostille. You're spending the 2 hours on that. Let me spend time, doing quick claim deeds, and no one has called. You have one quick claim deed in like 90 days. Let me make some flyers and put some money in advertising for an I-9 form. A whole year went by, you didn't do an I-9. You want to attack it because you heard somebody in a whole different state say that I-9s were easy and that they were making so much money. That's probably a hot document in their neck of the woods. Avoid these pitfalls. Learn from our mistakes, y'all. Learn from our mistakes.
Bro, I'm gonna show you how real it got. This is how I was tracking. I had the car, I had the credit cards, I had the mileage, I had the expenses, I had the income. Bro, this is how I was tracking it, y'all. Real talk. Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, week by week by week. This is back in 2020. You know what I'm saying?
That's a sophisticated ass spreadsheet, bro.
Bro, when
I don't even know where to start looking.
Bro, when did the Rise of Smart Notary come out? May of 2020, right? Yep. How do I know that? Ask me how I know that.
How you know that?
If you look, it says May of 2020. May 2020. Bro, this shit is made for you to implement now. Now. Imagine if I read the Rise of Smart Notary and I didn't even I don't even know if I should bring this up or not, but I was reading some of the reviews of Rise of Smart Notary, and it was kind of crazy because it was like most of them were awesome, excellent, but then there was a few that were very good. I'm just kind of interested in what. And one person had a very good review because they rated like 4 stars or something, and then they had an updated review where they gave it 5 stars because they had a second look at it, and I was just like, yeah. Bro, this stuff is made for you to implement now. Put it in there. Don't wait. And then
I remember that chick. She was like, I gave it a 4-star because I really didn't like the way it was written. But then I read it again and I had to give it 5 stars. I was like, yeah, that's dope. I screenshot the hell out of that thing. Yeah. By the way, if you guys don't have the book, it's now available. It's been available since 2020 on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. I would suggest Amazon getting the print version, and I would suggest getting the Audible version. So if you're working out, you can listen to it. But listen, you guys, my background is sales, negotiating, first and foremost. Marketing comes a strong third. But when it comes to sales and negotiating, that's how I made my living. That it saved me. It saved me. When I first moved to Chicago, I didn't have any skills. I never had a job in my life. The first job I've ever had in my life was Chuck E. Cheese. I knew I didn't want to work there forever. So I went and I got a receptionist job at Bally Total Fitness, and I got exposed to sales while I was a receptionist. And I saw these guys, they were driving the hottest cars, they had the hottest chicks, and they had money, and they were getting invited to the best parties. And I was like, It's not that they're in sales, is that they can convince and persuade people to see things their way. The reason why they got invited to those clubs and VIP and stuff like that is because they were able to make the club owner feel that, hey, you need me in your club, dude, because I could bring some people to your club. And I remember Tech getting my studio apartment, and I couldn't afford the rent because the receptionists don't make that much in a health club. And I was like, yo, like, I asked the general manager what I got to do to learn to be in sales. He was like, man, start reading books. Start reading. So I read on Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy. I lived in Barnes and Noble. So I'm telling you guys that this is decades of sales and negotiating experience. This notary business is child's play for me. It is the easy, like, I close deals so well in this business that I tell my students, put me on the phone with your client. Like, let me, what we call it a TO, which is called a takeover. It's perfect for Brooklyn, people from Brooklyn. So I tell them, let me take over the phone call. And then I don't care if it's business to business or it's business to customer. What you learn from this worksheet, these workbooks, and these bonus videos, it will just change everything for your business. And let's just say you decide not to do the notary business after your commission is up. These are skills that you'll be able to take to a whole new business. It's powerful. It's really, really powerful. Topic, pricing. Notaries are still having problems with pricing. So your voice gets a little bit shaky when you're trying to present a price. You're stuttering a little bit when a client asks you, how much is it? You're like Neo from the Matrix in part one, and you're like trying to fly the bullets and shit. You're dodging bullets backwards when they're asking you about the price. The first thing I'm gonna say is you need to rehearse. Just like Denzel Washington, Julia Roberts, Halle Berry, all of those people, they rehearse when they're doing a movie. Before they say action, they have rehearsed their lines. The reason why your voice is shaky, your hands are sweaty, your armpits are leaving sweat bleeds in your shirt is because you're not rehearsing. Rehearse with somebody, rehearse in the mirror, rehearse on your phone and record yourself saying the price until you get comfortable doing it. Tech, what tips would you give them to get past the fear of giving a price, asking for a price, making that offer?
Yeah, say it 30 times. Because if you really, really struggle and you're rehearsing 30 times, usually about a 30th time you'll get it. And that can only take about 5 minutes, 6, 7, 8 minutes. Do it 30 times if you really have a hard time doing it. But I would say what probably helped me with so since this is a sales call, can't have any sales without the price. And it's important that you know the price. I think that could easily be what stops you in your tracks. Like, just pause. Because that might be the first question they may ask you at the gate, which is, hey, how much somebody called me this morning and asked me that. Hi, you notary? Yeah. Okay. I called because I've got a power of attorney, and how much do you charge? Boom. You can lose a client right there, 5 seconds flat. Mm-hmm. So the way, and I realized that when people were calling, that's all they were asking. They were just asking something about the price, something related to the price, and it came to my attention that people who ask that question, they don't know. That's the reason why they're asking, because they don't know the price. So I'm saying they don't even know what a notary is, because they're like, I don't know what the heck I'm getting into. I just need to know how much it's going to be. I don't know how valuable this is. I just need to know how much it's going to be. I would say knowing that the person that asks you the price is not a bad thing. It ain't. I would expect them to ask. It's an appropriate question, especially if you sound like you don't know what you're talking about. Then I would definitely expect them to ask that question. Be ready for it. So if I wanted to get over that right now, for the notaries who are on this, I'm going to give you guys something special. The formula to come up with a price, and this is what I would use, the formula to come up with a price, because there actually is a formula. It's not just arbitrary. You can just make it up if you want. And if you get really, really good at the formula, you can make it up on the spot. But the formula is this. It's the freedom number, which is how much money do you need per month. So let's say it's 5,000. You divide that by how many hours that you actually run the business. How many hours do you have a full-time job? You work 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock? Then you can't run the business. You can, but if you're in this position, then you're probably not ready for that yet. So let's just discount that. Let's just exclude the time that you actually running your 9 to 5. Even though you can, right? Because I do it. It's just pick up the phone, no problem. But how much money do you need per month? Freedom number divided by how many hours that you have availability. That means the hours that you're running the business. All right. So you divide that number. So let's say you have 125 hours, or let's say you have 40 hours. I'm saying, what's that number? Without doing the math, you need 5 racks a month. I only have 40 hours of availability. If I did that math on that, let's just say, just so I can give you some solid numbers. So that means my price is $125 per hour minimum, or $125, per hour. But if an appointment is only half an hour, if it only takes 10 minutes, or if it only takes 25 minutes, then what? What do I do then, Tech? Don't worry, I got you covered, because you need 5 racks. You have 40 hours of availability outside of the normal things that you do on a weekly basis. All right, this is per week, by the way. All right, for how many hours per week? And then that spits out $125. That's what you're charging for every hour that you're outside of the house. That means if an appointment takes 30 minutes for you to do, well, the time that the moment you pick up the phone to the moment you get back, you're on the clock.
Yeah.
You're getting, that is counting, that the clock is running, right? The cab fare is on, the meter's on. So that number is going to change for most people, but there is a way to actually calculate this. How much money do you need per month? All your bills, all the required bills, not your groceries or not stuff that changes from month to month, but everything that's minimum has to get paid, versus how much time do you actually have to dedicate to this, all right? And then that spits out a number. And when that number comes out, that's what you're charging per hour. So now I know, if I go get a power of attorney, if I get an affidavit, I go get a LLC agreement, I go get a purchase agreement, I go sign whatever it is, I know that now I'm starting to put value on my time, because you can't put value on my time. I can't put value on yours. I don't know how much your time is worth to you. I don't know. Is it worth $1 or is it worth $1 million? I don't know. So now you're putting value on the time. How much money do you need per month? How much availability do you have per week? And then that's going to spit out a number. That's what you're basing your time upon. And then talk about your signatures, talk about your stamps and witnesses, printing. All those things you can combine all of those things to build it up into one price. And that's how it's easy to come up when somebody says, hi, I just want to know if I can walk in, because I know it's cheaper if I walk in. You're like, wait a second. Wait a second. You're talking about, I don't even know what you have, ma'am.
Right.
You might have 1 million pieces of paper. You might have hell of paper that I need to sign. I don't know. So good question. That's what we say. Good question. Great question. Let me extract some information from you. Let me get some details from you first, and then I'll be able to hit you with a quote. But it goes back to you navigating the phone call. It goes back to you being looking for the issues, looking for the problem solutions, looking for the negotiation that they use, the sales tactic that we know customers use on us. Customers hit you with that same type of shrewd business. Put it this way, an attorney calls you and they need to serve documents to a client, and they also need to get a document notarized. Think about this. We got to send a proof of summons to a court. We got to get a signature notarized, and we have to deliver a package, right? How much? Right? The lawyer's not going to ask you out the gate how much. They want you to facilitate this appointment. All right, how can I help? How can you help me? Does your service do this? That's what they're going to ask you. Can you handle that? Is this something that you do? All right. And the answer for me is always yes. I know it's always yes for you. And then it's just a matter of you finding the value. So you got a specific line of questioning that you ask them, but there's certain things that you have to get done. You have to pick it up. You have to drive. You might have to ship. You might have to wait. You might have to wait in line. Might have to park. Consider all those different things, and that's going to factor into how much money you need per month. How much time do you have available to get this done? Because you don't have all day to be doing this shit, man.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we're gonna wrap up the sales meeting for today. Again, you guys can get the Notary Special Ops bundle right now. We do have like a quick flash sale going on for 36 hours. So you can get everything. It's the only workbook that you'll ever need for this notary business. It's $27. It's a $497 value. Click the link in the description or click the link in the chat to actually get your copy, plus bonus videos, plus a ton of other bonuses and replays of our Control Chaos Training Summit. Any last words, Tech?
That's it. Do they get a chance to get the emails once they purchase that? Will they be on the email list?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good. I would get on that email list too, because there's way more stuff that's available behind the scenes.
All right. Until then, folks, keep making that money, man. Peace.